Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second hull for Nurnberg. Now, it's not different guns, it's not different torpedoes, it's just the way that you can set up the ship. So, the first one we reviewed equipped hull C. So, basically what that means is that we lose some of our torpedo tubes pretty much here, and we gain quite a bit of anti-aircraft defense in order to balance that. However, if you're going into games that don't have a lot of aircraft, then you might want to use the B hull, which does quite considerably decrease your anti-aircraft defense, but it gives you 6 more torpedoes. So that's definitely good for surface warfare. So today we'll be using the B hull. As you can see here, you gain 14 anti-aircraft guns by equipping the C hull, so it's no laughing matter. And if you actually want to look at the damages for your AA here, we have 20, 38, and 57 for outer, middle, and inner ring respectively. And then if we equip the B hull, that drops it down to 20, 13, and 14, which is pretty much absolutely nothing. So yeah. It really depends on which kind of gameplay you are going to be focusing on, whether or not you want to be anti-air or anti-surface. You do have the capability of equipping an anti-air barrage. However, your damages aren't necessarily that good even with said barrage, so I just run her with hydroacoustic search. But I do enjoy the fact of having a lot of AA guns on my ship, so I do usually run it with the C hull, but we'll see how the B hull works today. So let's toss her into the game and see what we can do. Alright, and here ourselves a game. We have quite a few battleships, a couple cruisers, and a couple destroyers. So let's see what we can do against this. And Nurnberg is actually one of my favorite ships, or at least in the German tech tree. She may not bring much to the table in terms of armament, but she is very versatile. She has okay-ish AA, she has good torpedoes, and rapid-firing 6-inch guns that have good shell velocity. And if you kite away, then you can use both of your turrets with the smallest profile possible. So it's a really good ship for engaging enemies at long range. And she has close-range torpedoes. I believe it's 6-kilometer torpedoes. I didn't actually look. And then, like I said, okay AA. It's not the best, obviously, but you are certainly still able to knock down a few planes when need be. Torpedo angles are pretty decent as well. I have no complaints. They're actually really good forward. And they're pretty decent this turn. They might be the same, but it's hard to tell. Alright, so let's start getting to work. The high explosive on the ship is okay, but the armor piercing, if you get broadside, don't be afraid to use it. The shell velocity that the ship has means that even at long range, you have pretty flat shell arcs. So you should be able to land a good number of your hits, and you should be able to go through armor relatively decently. Like, look how fast these shells are. They're getting to the target really quickly, and the reload is fast as well. Though it doesn't look like dispersion likes me right now. Alright, there we go. We already have a fire. And that's still not a good angle for armor piercing yet. You will still bounce considering you only have 6-inch guns. But, I mean, double fire already, I'll take it. I do have buffs to my fire chance though, so I doubt you would normally get that. Let's see if we can work on this mayhem a little bit, since we already have the Nurnberg half sunk. And remember, I do have hydroacoustic search. She's not in range yet. I think it's a 5 or 6 kilometer hydro. I haven't really looked at the stats for hydro since I don't really use it that often. But I guess I can start activating it now. It does last for quite some time. So I should be able to see the destroyer. Yep, there she is. It looks like it's a 6-kilometer hydro. So even if she's in smoke, I can see her. And if I can see her, I can sink her. You do technically have secondaries on your ship as well. That being said, they're not the strongest, but they are doing a little bit of damage. Actually, let's have them focus on the destroyer. I feel like they might have better chance of doing anything on the destroyer. Hey, I think we actually got a secondary hit. Alright, we're gonna take a tour, which I didn't really account for, but we were able to slow down, and we missed most of them, because I feel like taking 3 would have actually sunk us. But we do have a heal. Let's switch over to armor piercing as we get another fire. Let me just show you how much damage you can get with these armor piercing shells. Like, okay, that wasn't really good salvo, but you can do quite a considerable amount of damage if I survive. Going against 2 Queen Elizabeths is not the best idea. I'm trying to get really close so I can use my torpedoes, but I definitely do not have the armor for any kind of engagement with these ships. They could easily sit down me right down the middle of my ship. Alright, so we're going to... Oh, we already lost some of our torpedoes. Looks like they'll repair soon once I press my reload. Repair. Torpedoes. And then let's turn around for the rear ones. I'm pretty dangerously low on health right now as well. Oh, and we have a permafire. But I needed those torpedoes. And as soon as I sink this Queen Elizabeth, we should be in the clear. Alright, so we have armor piercing loaded. Let's kite away. Give the smallest possible target. Pop a heal. And there she goes. Alright, so what do we have left? More Queen Elizabeths. Are they going to be focusing on me? It doesn't look like it. Alright, so let's switch back to high explosive. There's still a destroyer over there too. Alright, let's actually go back to armor piercing, considering she's going to be giving us a pretty decent broadside in a minute. As you can see, the ship is really good at range as well. Ooh, we're being shot at. I don't like those shells. Those are big shells. Alright, so she dodged. There's a few more. But I'm not too worried about those. As you can see, if I had the Sea-Hull with additional anti-aircraft guns, I wouldn't have been able to take on those Queen Elizabeths, because I would have only had 6 torpedoes total instead of 12, and 3 was not enough to sink a single one of those battleships. So I did need the second set, and there's not even a carrier in this game. Ooh, I was sloppy, I missed that one. Dodge. Alright, there we go. So yeah, in this game, the Sea-Hull would not have been beneficial at all. And we're going to try and run down this Queen Elizabeth, since she seems to have a hankering to sink us. So we might as well return the favor. Let's pop our last heal. I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied, so do keep that in mind. If I was in a normal Nurnberg without any buffs, I probably would have been sunk at this point. That's fine with me. I mean, I've sank 4 ships already. I don't think I have room to complain with how Nurnberg has performed. She's not necessarily a very strong hulled cruiser. She has very weak armor. She's very squishy. But she does have really good offensive firepower, which is something that all German cruisers have. Alright, so let's see. Let's run down the middle, give some torps, and win the game. So let's see how we did. We're focused quite heavily on our torpedoes this game, which is fine. And we were able to do 188,000 damage, 5 ships were sunk, 138 shell hits, 11 torpedo hits, 5 fires, 3 floodings, 61 secondary hits for 5,500 base XP. So we did 29,000 damage in high explosive, 33,000 damage in armor piercing, 20,000 damage in fires, and secondary battery actually did 1,800 damage, and then torpedoes did 103,000 damage. So you can kind of see that your guns are really, really good. However, as good as they are, they won't do a lot of damage over time, even if you have a really good rate of fire. So your main damage dealer, at least dealing with battleships, is going to be your torpedoes if you can use it. And I do think you have 6 kilometer. Yep, 6 kilometer torpedoes. And yeah, this ship is really good. You have good torpedo angles. However, you do kind of want to use concealment and islands to your advantage. because even if you are seen by a battleship, you don't have much armor. You don't even have 4 inches of armor. If you do, it's pretty much right on your turret faces. So most of the time, the ships or the shells will go right through you, but if they do still manage to hit the citadel, they will still do a ton of damage, and you can't really survive that very long. With that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and join me tomorrow while we go over the second set of torpedoes for one of my favorite ships, Prinz Eugen. So again, thank you, and take care.